Let's go. I expect guys who like to talk a lot, so I'm gonna have to wrangle them together. But I expect a lot of respect for each other. We have Randy White, Jason Taylor, Howie Long, Bruce Smith, and these are guys that I never imagined would be my friends.
I told you I was coming!
I'm sitting with guys who I idolized growing up, who I idolized, who I played against, guys who encouraged me, and I love being around these guys. It's like being around family. Well, you guys, we're here talking. We're going to celebrate like the 100 NFL 100 years. And I'm curious, all of us came from totally different backgrounds and places and college experiences, but we all had our first day in the NFL. And I want to ask you, what is your first NFL memory? Who wants to go first? We're D linemen. I know y'all like to talk, so don't get shy.
You got one?
I got my first memory. I got drafted by the Cowboys. I was in the dorm. They called me from the athletic department, and I had nothing like today.
It was a rotary phone, right?
Yeah, rotary phone. I went over there, and I thought I was going to the Baltimore Colts. They had the #1 pick in the draft. They kept saying we're taking #1 that night. They trade Bartkowski, so I ended up going #2 to the Cowboys.
Randy White, defensive end, Maryland.
So I'm on a plane going to Dallas, Texas, and I got to walk in Coach Landry's office and meet Tom Landry. And on the way home, Gil Brandt, our scout general manager, they sold Coors beer in Texas.
First memory beer.
Coors beer back east
It was big.
Yeah.
It was big. And I brought 2 cases back to the dorm, and I was a hero for about an hour.
My memory of coming into the league was my first minicamp. You know, this little kid from Norfolk, Virginia, from the inner city, coming up to the big city.
Let's not say little kid, because you came in with 300. You all sexy 265 now, but you weren't no little kid. Let's not fool each other.
That was back when you had the big shoulder pads.
There you go. And the mustache. Yeah. But nevertheless, when I went to Buffalo, I knew it was cold, but I didn't know how cold and how long it stayed cold. But it was the end of May. It rained, hailed, and then snowed. And then the sun came back out in about 30 minutes. I said, what the hell have I got myself into? I'd never seen such extremes of weather like that before, but that was a rude awakening.
How about Miami, man? You go right straight up to the warm weather.
Yeah, I got lucky. Yeah, my first NFL memory, obviously, was the day I got called by Jimmy Johnson. And unlike you guys, I didn't know I was going to the league. Like, I was a small guy coming out of Akron, 230 pounds. You know, that's when defensive ends were built like you guys. You know, they were 280, 290, 275, whatever. And at 235, never having played the position, didn't know what was coming. And so I get that call from Jimmy Johnson, asked him when I was going to play, and he said, you're going to play football. That's what he said, and just kind of put me out there and said, chase the ball. Don't worry about where to line up. Don't worry about any blitzes, coverage, any of that stuff. Just go find the football. But most importantly, I had a coach that took a young guy and really believed in him and gave me that chance to just go fail, and we'll figure it out.
That sounds like a dream come true to everybody else at the table, because that was not happening with us. And Howie, Raiders, what was your first memory?
You know, much like Jason, you're not quite sure. Small school guy. I think we played on TV once. So I didn't know where I was going. Raiders draft me. I go from Villanova, where there's a priest on every floor, to the Oakland Raider locker room.
Where there was.
There wasn't a priest anywhere around.
My first memory is just even trying to feel like you belong, because I'm Texas Southern. I come from a little small school too, but I remember going into the Giants locker room, the first mini camp, they bring the rookies in, and they had the physicals. And they brought the vets in to do their physicals, but they came in later in the afternoon. And I saw Eric Dorsey, who was a big defensive end. We had first-round pick out of University of Oklahoma. He walked into that locker room. He had on a full black bodysuit. I mean, no man should wear a bodysuit, but he had on a full black bodysuit. Yeah. And he just had muscles coming out of muscles. And I remember looking at him and in my head thinking, if I got to look like that to play in NFL, I ain't gonna make it. I just will not make it. I mean, the guy, that was intimidating to me. But that was my first memory of walking to that locker room, and the fact that Phil Simms looked at me and said, hey, Michael. And I was like, oh, he knows my name. You know, and it kind of like, welcome to the NFL moment. But I think we all realize that once you get into that locker room, it's not college anymore.
Yeah.
Because this is a job. And all of us obviously have done our jobs really well. We wouldn't be sitting here at this table. So I'm curious, what do you think is the key to your success as a football player? Don't be shy.
Well,
brag on yourself, man. This is about
look.
bragging on yourself right now. That's why we're doing this whole round table.
Well, I don't call it bragging. I call it stating the facts.
I call it being Bruce.
No, I call it stating the facts. Look, everybody that's sitting at this table has a high football IQ. That's not bragging. The athletic ability that sets them apart from any other player. That's not bragging. Now, when you put those elements together with the desire to compete and the desire to win, the desire to make the sacrifice to make sure when you walk out on that field, you are better prepared than your opponent. That's what's going to carry the day.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's what's going to carry the day. You want to know the secret to success in this game is? There are no secrets.
No.
It's called hard work. It's called sacrifice. It's called commitment and being a disciplined player. And that's what I thought that I brought to the table.
We're gonna put the heat on him now. Intercepted by Jason Taylor. Oh, baby, what a play!
I'm curious, who was the player that influenced your game the most? Start with you, Randy.
When I was a little kid, I used to watch Ray Nitschke, right? Because he was bald-headed, he had the black things on his big nose, and he was mean, and he was always hitting people. And so I go to the Columbus Touchdown Club when I'm a senior in college to get an award. Well, I saw his name on the thing, and I said, I want to meet Ray Nitschke while I'm here. So he said, well, I'll make that happen. So we go downstairs, and there's Ray Nitschke sitting with Art Donovan and Bobby Lane. And I get to meet these three guys. I mean, this is a big deal, right? And I had just gotten drafted by the Cowboys. They were making me a middle linebacker. And Nitschke says, hey, kid, come over here, sit down. Let me give you a little advice when you go to that Dallas team. He says, don't make any friends. He says, you knock the crap out of everybody you come up against. You'll have all the friends you need.
They got him, Randy White.
I got to say, for me, I'm sitting here at the table with two of the guys, one being Howie. And then, of course, watching Bruce, I couldn't do what you did.
All right.
Because you could turn a corner and be this high off the ground and get around the corner. I don't know how you did it without falling.
Right.
So for me, it was watching all of you guys and what you were doing. It was a motivator for me. It made me want to be great. And I realized how hard you guys worked to be great. And I wanted to be in that class, even though for me to sit here today, even with you guys, it kind of blows me away because I don't see and never did see myself as a Hall of Famer. I was some kid who stumbled into football coming from Germany.
I'll pinch you because you are.
Right. But it blows my mind, man.
It's funny how things kind of trickle down. Because you watch Howie, you watch Bruce. And me being the youngest guy at the table, you know, being the baby of the group.
Don't rub it.
Yes, you are.
I have two of my idols sitting at the table with me, and guys that I've gotten to know over the years, and I always chase. So it was Bruce and you, and then Willie McGinnis was the third guy that I really looked at, because, like I said, when I got in, I had no idea what the hell I was doing at the end. So as you already alluded to, you're talking about Bruce and the way he leaned the corner. So I watch it, I break it down, I slow it down, I draw it up on paper, I put cones out, PVC pipes leaning sideways, all those things. So I'm like, if I can get my body at this angle,
Impossible.
It wasn't gonna work. Like my ankle was gonna snap, my knee was gonna give out. So, all right, let me find something else about Bruce I can do, because this ain't it.
That's God-given.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna work for me. So it was the same thing with Stray. I watched so much tape of you and Bruce and Willie McGinnis and the things he was doing in New England, because he was kind of the guy that Jimmy said, you know, a little bit more of an undersized guy, so to speak. He can stand up, he can be down at
body
the point. Yeah. So watch everything McGinnis does.
You know, for me, when I first came into the league, there was this guy by the name of Ben Williams. And I was like a sponge. I wanted to learn and understand the game and pick up little tips from everyone. And I would always notice he was always using his hands, swiping his hands and this and that. And he pulled me aside one day and I said, why do you do all that? He said, because they can't grab you, they can't hold you. And then all of a sudden, this piece of the puzzle started coming together. And I started understanding that to be a great pass rusher and a great defensive player, you had to create separation between you and that offensive lineman so we could use the best asset that we had in our given athletic ability, and that's your ability to be able to run. You create separation, not allowing them to grab you and hold you. You get your hip past their hip, it's over.
This is our house. Nobody comes in here and pushes us around. Nobody. 3 on 3. 1, 2, 3, 3.
He was unstoppable.
What current player out there in the NFL, or players, that you look at and think, wow, what a game. I really like watching this guy play. Guy plays the right way.
This guy, Von Miller, does things like a DB.
Freakish.
He's like a blitzing DB.
He's special.
But the one that's just defensive tackle-wise, Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
I
Mike
don't
and
know
I-
if we've seen
Mike and I
many,
sit there
if
on
anybody
Sundays,
like him.
so-
Yeah. But if you look at it, the one common denominator that these guys possess is creating separation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't run to dark.
So they can run.
Yep.
Not only that, endurance, too. Separation and endurance. These guys don't stop.
Yeah.
But I'd say Khalil, I'd say obviously JJ, not just for the early part of his career, but coming back from the injuries.
I agree with you with the names you just mentioned. Khalil, Vaughn, Aaron, and JJ's had an incredible career
Yes.
as well. Those 4 names right there are the ones that have been most impressive over the last, I'd say, 7 or 8 years.
A lot of great players out there.
Sure is.
But, I think that the great thing about, sitting here with you guys is that it's love and respect. Love and respect.
It's like that room in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You walk in every year and you say, everyone in this room has a reason to feel pretty good about themselves.
Yeah.
But the respect in the room is everything.
This movie is rated R.
Zach, guess who? Michael Strahan again. Look out for Bruce Smith.
Adult language and violence. Lots of it.
One thing we didn't talk about, we talked about it prior to the shoot, quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite quarterback to sack? Who's the favorite quarterback? We got to get that out there. Who's your favorite quarterback to sack?
We had this discussion before you guys started filming. And none of us at this table like quarterbacks. None. Not even our own quarterback on our own team. I love Jim Kelly, but I don't like quarterbacks. It's just as simple as that.
I will tell you this. Eli, I love Eli Manning.
Yeah.
Can't say that I really was in love with the other quarterbacks we had. They were nice guys, cool, but I never liked the quarterback on another team.
Right.
And some of them we're friends now. We're
Right.
cool,
Well,
but
Howie, we hit them.
We didn't communicate with them. We didn't socialize. There wasn't any social media.
No.
We're no off-season vacations together. We're gonna get a boat.
yeah, you know what?
No, there
That's
was none
crazy
of
to me.
that. There
That's
was
crazy to
none
me.
of
I
that.
can't do that.
No,
I can't
that's
do that.
the old man stories now. I mean,
Yes, get off the lawn.
There was
Get
no
off
cell
my
phones
lawn.
then. There was no computers or internet.
We had to walk uphill to get to school, uphill to get home.
No communication.
But I will be
get off
honest,
my lawn.
I was not one. I couldn't do that where I'm gonna, be vacationing with dudes, helping you all. It always bothered me, even when I see him help him off the ground, I'm like, let him use his own energy to get up. That makes him more tired. Like, it's certain things that do bother me. But quarterback, I love the sack. First of all of them.
Right,
Yes.
that's
But
correct.
McNabb, for me,
Yeah.
I think was, because it's just Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's really a kind of a faceless, position. Just whoever the quarterback is. But John Elway being in the division, having to chase him around at that ski resort up there in Denver for most of my adult life. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it was Elway and Marino. Both of those guys.
Dang,
they
got out
were
quick.
Yeah, he had the quickest release
Oh my gosh.
in that era of football.
Unbelievable.
It was just extraordinary.
You see the trend is we all pick the guys that kind of in our division we see the most, but Tom Brady was the guy I saw a lot, sacked the most in my career. I always tell everybody,
like
they ask
Roger.
you that, they all taste like
hard-
chicken, man.
hard
I
not to
them
like
all.
Tom.
It doesn't matter.
I got to tell you one story about Phil Simms.
Go
we
ahead.
got time. One
Go
story.
ahead.
I'm standing there for the Super Bowl MVP thing, right? I'm standing there talking to John Riggins, and Phil Simms looks at me and says, I thought about you this morning, Randy. And I said, what are you thinking about me for? He says, see this cut on my chin? He had a big cut there on his scar on his chin. He says, you did that to me. He says, every time I nick it, he says, I think about you.
In not those exact words, I'm sure.
And we're playing it one time, and I remember the play when it happened, because he was on the ground, he was going, And I had some choice words. I said, hey, you big sissy, get up. And he got up and he threw the football at me and he called me a bad word. I wanted to go hug him. I said, oh, I like you.
Phil is Phil's a tough guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a tough guy. I always liked you.
How's the game changed now? From what you knew, from what you experienced to what you watch now?
You know, to me, the game is still who wins the line of scrimmage, right? You watch a football game, I mean, big plays obviously play a part in it, but the team that wins the game up front usually wins the football game, and that hasn't changed in forever. Now, the rules are different.
Yeah.
You know, I watch a football game, I know the referee's name. I don't like that. I don't like knowing the referee's name. I want to know the football guy's name. But, you know, that's changed, the way the rules. You know, guys get up off the ground looking, hey, how come I didn't get a penalty? You know, we never had that.
I think the game has changed. They're in nickel 70% of the time. It's rush the quarterback. The run game is not quite as important. And the situation substitutions.
Sir! Everyone, sir! Go, sir! Sir!
I mean, how many snaps you get in a year on average? 900?
I don't know. I never came out of the game.
I think it was,
900?
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's probably way down.
Yeah, it's way down.
Yeah.
One of the things I always did was I was always going to be in better shape.
There you go.
Yes.
I was going to be in better shape than the other guy. I was going to beat him with my mind. I was going to beat him mentally every day during the week. So when that fourth quarter came around, when everything counted, he's going to be tired, and I'm going to start beating him. We may play even for 3 quarters, but when that fourth quarter comes around, I'm winning the fourth quarter. And that was a philosophy I used and a model that I built, and I plugged that in for 14 years, and it worked.
Yeah.
And one thing I would never do, like Stray was talking about, you know, you're at that point where you're about to pass out and die. But he was never going to see that.
That's right.
Like, I was hurting. I wanted to die. My eyes were rolling the back of my head. when you can hear yourself breathing, you know, you get that loud breath in your ears, like, but he wouldn't know it and just stand there and stare at him.
Yeah, how many times
Hope I
my
don't
kids
pass out and fall on my face.
My
but
kids
I'm not
have
gonna
heard me
show
say
him.
that.
But you're 100% right about that. I always thought to myself, how can I be smaller than him? That big 300-something pound guy, he's going to get tired before I get tired.
Oh, absolutely.
And I knew for me, as far as you talking about power and bull rush, I wasn't a big guy.
Right.
I mean, early in my career, I was bigger, but I was a manufactured big guy.
Right.
If you have power in your game and you understand the game, you have leverage, then you can work off of power. If you're a finesse guy, you just run around the edge, you never display power, at some point, you're going to lose some speed. And that guy's going to beat you to that contact spot, and it catches up to you. So
What's
you
that
have to
Springsteen song? You ever seen a one-trick pony? Then you see me.
Yeah. So you got to develop something off of power. So my game was based off power just for that fact, for the case of longevity. But I used to just power to the point of where I just wanted to take your soul. I wanted to take your will. I wanted to look you in your eye, and we've all been to that point where you're on a guy so bad, you look in his eyes, and you realize he doesn't want to be there.
It's still a game. It's still a game
feeling.
of will. The one common thread is I want to be in better shape than everybody, and I want my 80th play to look like my first play. And that's when, you know, it's round 9, round 10, round 11, round 12, where you really make hay. And that's where the game's won.
And you got to watch that film.
That's where you win.
Got to watch that film in front of your teammates, and that was always the thing that would always scare me, to get in there and have them not see what you wanted them to see. And
fear. I mean, you talk about fear. I mean, that motivated me my whole career. Not the fear where I'm scared I'm going to run away.
Fear of failure.
I'm going to embarrass myself. The fear I'm going to let my coach down. Fear I'm going to let my teammates down. I never wanted to go watch that film. You know, when they watched that film, I wanted them to see me going 110% because Coach Landry would make an example out of me. And like Howie alluded to earlier, you know what? Once you get there, then you got to stay there.
You got to stay there.
It's twice as hard.
On
You got to stay there
Wednesday,
because it's
on Thursday.
expected of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And your coach expects it of you. Your teammates expect it of you. You got to maintain that level of intensity for your whole career. I mean, if you're going to be a great football player.
And it's kind of a tortured existence from that standpoint. I don't think you really enjoy your career until after you're done.
Very true.
Fellas, it's been an honor and a privilege to sit at this table with you. NFL 100, 100 years of great football. I'm sitting at the table with legends who made it happen within those 100 years. All right, you guys, maybe we can do this next week.
In Montana.
No.
Okay.
Defensive lineman, yeah!
D-line.
Yeah.